Hello. Today I would like to present to you all the case of the Ashley Madison data breach and explain to you why it's such an interesting ethical situation. So for some background, let's look at the actual website, Ashley Madison. It was basically used by people who were married or in a relationship who had the expressed intent to cheat on their wives basically with other married people. That was the use of the website. It was advertised as a Tinder for cheaters, basically. You can even see here in the tagline, life is short, have an affair. It's not hard to understand why people didn't like this company. People thought this company was so disgusting, in fact, that a hacker group known as the Impact Team hacked into the database and they published a big message to the actual online for everyone to see. And they told the parent company of the website, if they don't shut down all operations and basically shut down their businesses, they're going to leak the information of 55 million people. Now, the company hearing this said, we are not going to do that. We make way too much money every single year to be shut down by some little hackers. Like you guys are probably lying. And the hackers then said, okay, you asked for it. We're going to do it. And they published the information of every single user of the 55 million user platform. They published not only the full names, but also the full addresses and the full credit card transaction history of every single user online for everyone to see. Now, the reason they did this is because they had a big problem with the actual parent company, and they knew if they wouldn't shut down by them asking, they would most likely shut down by all the lawsuits they would receive for not keeping the user data secure. Now, the hackers also published a statement after the fact to explain kind of why they did it, and it had three main reasons to it. The biggest and most expressed reason for them to do this, or to publish information, is because the company was fraudulent. It was stealing millions of dollars from its users and basically just robbing all of their customers. And the biggest example of this is they had a feature. It was a very infamous feature. It was where if a user wanted to delete their information from such a risky, kind of website, they would have to pay $19 to do that. It was estimated that the website made over $10 million in revenue off just this one feature alone. Now, the thing that they didn't tell you is that they didn't actually delete your information. They basically just took your money and lied to you. The information was still in the database when it was leaked. Another reason is that they thought it was just a generally immoral company. They thought it was profiting off of suffering and promoting cheating to a general audience, which is just highly deplorable. Everyone can understand why. And their last and kind of most prevalent reason, or one of the biggest reasons, is that their company also ran another application called Established Men. Now, what this app would do is men would basically just pay for sex and they would get it. But this then brought up a problem. This app attracted very commonly prostitution rings, human trafficking victims. Many people would would be in this service because it's basically prostitution. Now, one very important thing to note is that the main target was the company. They didn't really care about the users or the customers that they were leaking. Now, they did go out and say that they didn't really care, but they are still dirty scumbag cheaters. But they kind of just used them as a way to get what they wanted, which is to get at the company. Now, due to the users cheating, they didn't really get any sympathy from anybody. Not the online, not people around them, not friends, not family. Nobody really cared about them. So because of this, they faced mass public humiliation. There was also a service where, well, not really a service. People would look at the names and addresses and find a way to phone the person whose information was leaked, and they would extort them for money. They say, if you don't give me money, I'm gonna tell your wife and kids about this. And they, because this happened, they were extorted from a lot of money. It was so bad that it was found that over 4 people were confirmed to have committed suicide because of this one event. Now, it's then obvious we must inquire, was this a good or a bad thing for the hackers to do? My ethical standard that I'll be using this is content ethics. What this is the most important topic of content ethics is that the only truly good thing in the world is a good intention. The reason that Kant says this is because Kant says many good things can be used for bad consequences. For example, for example, Hitler was very charismatic. He had a way of speaking that inspired millions of people. now he obviously used this to get very bad things, the Holocaust, all these bad things. Another example, knowledge is inherently very valuable and good. We know that knowledge is a good thing, but human knowledge is also used to invent torture methods, guns, nuclear bombs, all these things that we know are terrible. So because of this, Kant argues that the only good thing in the world is a good intention. If you want to help somebody, no matter what happens, like no matter what happens after the fact, it was a good act because you wanted to help them. What you did. One of the second biggest parts of Kantian ethics is that humans are very valuable. Humans, they can make their own decisions. We're autonomous creatures, but the thing is that we make decisions based off information. So if you give us bad information, we're not going to be able to make decisions about it. So because of this, he thinks that things like lying and deception are wrong. And the reason he thinks this is because in lying or deception, you kind of use other people to get what you want. And he thinks that's an inherently very, very bad thing. Now, let's look at the arguments. The first argument for this being an ethical action is that they genuinely did have very, very good intentions, which is what is needed in Kantian ethics. They genuinely thought that they were bringing down like this horribly corrupt and fraudulent company. They thought that this company was human trafficking. They thought that it was promoting cheating and basically promoting suffering to a high world. And they also thought that just they were scamming their customers that have millions and millions of dollars. This company had to shut down no matter what. Even if it took, even if it took leaking information, they had to do it because that would also bring it down. Now, this then leads on to my other point on why it's unethical. It's unethical because, unlike what Kant said, they explicitly used people to get what they wanted. Like I said earlier, they didn't really have a problem with the actual cheaters. They didn't leak it because they hated the cheaters. They leaked them because they wanted the cheaters to sue the company and the company would shut down. They only cared about shutting down the company. Now, under Kant, this is a very, very big, this is a very horrible thing because humans are valuable, so they should not be used as ammo to get what you want. It should not be done. But this kind of leads on to my third point. And my third point is that it's an ethical action because the wives were being lied to. So when people would use this service, they obviously were not telling the wives they were cheating on them, and they were still happy with their wives, all that stuff. So the wife, the spouse was leading a false life. They were making decisions because they didn't know the full truth on what was happening. These hackers supplied them with the truth. They told them what was actually happening, and the wife could make a decision. Okay, do I divorce them or blah, 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 or join them, just like this little picture says. And they supplied the wife, or the I keep saying wife. They supplied the spouse with the ability to make a decision, which is very important in Kantian ethics as well, because he believes humans were valuable as well. So this is kind of a counter. So in conclusion, I personally believe that this wasn't, while there are spots where it is unethical, it is overall an unethical act. Like I said, they exposed crimes of a company that they genuinely thought was like the cancer of the nation, and they almost bankrupted them. Almost. They didn't quite get there, but then again, when is the last time you heard of the term Ashley Madison? Nobody really talks about them anymore because they're not really prevalent, so you can say that their goals might have been achieved. They also let people learn the truth of what was actually happening to them. So because of that, you kind of have to wonder, is them using the cheaters as a means to an end really a bad thing if these cheaters were still doing such a horrible action, lying to their wife? It's kind of food for thought. Anyway, that's all I wanted to express to you guys. Good night.